Welcome back, my fellow door openers. I am very excited to have you here and have you listening to today's episode. It is one that I was a little excited to do this episode because this is again it's going to be on cryptids. Surprise, surprise. But this is on a cryptid that I was very familiar with, seeing a lot of stuff showing up in, I guess, I don't want to say pop culture. It shows up a lot in the cryptid realm, which people who are listening to this, I'm sure, are aware what we're talking about when we talk about cryptids. We are talking about creatures that have been seen but not scientifically proven to exist, which these are probably in, I'm going to say, the top 5 of well-known cryptids. There's not a lot of documented sightings of these, which is odd because a lot of times we won't have video proof of cryptids, but we actually have a couple of video footage of this particular cryptid. So what are we talking about today? Today we are going to talk about the Fresno Nightcrawlers, which, if you're familiar with the cryptid world at all, they are the cryptids that look like almost like a pair of hammer pants out in the wild, just roaming about doing their thing. Before we get into that, though, there were a few things I'd like to bring up. First, I just want to give a quick shout out to the person that provided the background image for today's episode. I got this image from Unsplash, which has a very large collection of photographs and illustrations that you can use. And they just ask that you do give a shout out to the artist that took the picture or drew the image. This is Marcelo Quinan, Quinan. This picture was taken in October of 2015 in Tromsø, Norway. Again, hopefully the people of Tromsø will not be upset with me if I am pronouncing their city incorrectly, but that's Tromso, Norway. Beautiful, nice little background picture here. But yeah, use Unsplash if you're looking for some quality pictures or illustrations for backgrounds. The other thing I want to bring up before we go too deep in the episode, if you have not checked it out yet, in between this recording and the last, I was able to go through and I listened to it. I bought it originally, and my schedule, as we all know, can be busy at times. Since the last recording, I did move, so it kept me quite busy. I'm still in the Portland area, but yeah, moving is always fun. But I came across the book Imminent by Luis Elizondo. If you haven't gotten a chance to check this book out, I highly recommend it. I bought the book and had every intention of reading it on the following weekend. But then I was on Spotify and looking for any podcast with Luis Elizondo on them. And came across the fact that since I have a premium membership, an audiobook version of the book is on there. And I actually listened through it in 2 days, I think. It is, if you are into UFOs, if you feel like the government might be hiding some things from us occasionally, this is a book you want to check out. Luis has worked in the government for a long period of time, working on multiple projects, mainly revolving around UFOs, or as we call them now, UAPs. yeah, I can't recommend the book enough. I get out there, give it a listen. Luis did actually, which I thought was kind of cool. Worked with To the Stars Academy, Tom DeLonge's organization that dealt with aliens, UAPs, and all that. But yeah, it is a great book that he just comes out. I wouldn't say he's a whistleblower per se, but he is somebody that felt there was too much being withheld from the people. While he understands that occasionally there are things that, for national security, that maybe need to be a little more hidden or confidential, there was plenty of information that we should have access to. And I am all about access to information for everyone. Check out Luis Elizondo's book, Imminent. Most local bookstores will have it. If you're in the Portland area, Pals has it in stock. But yeah, check it out and see what you think. I think a lot of people would benefit from listening to this book. Skeptics, especially. But everybody in general, I think it is a lot of information about UAPs and aliens and UFOs that most of us may not have known prior to this or had proper access to the information, which Luis did. But yeah, Luis Elizondo, Imminent. I don't think I have anything else. I feel like we can hop right into this. This episode is on the Fresno Nightcrawlers. Not to be confused with Frisco, which is something I looked up multiple times when searching for the Fresno Nightcrawlers. Why? Because I, like any good American, loves his fast food. And Hardee's, growing up, one of my favorite burgers was Hardee's Frisco Burger. I'm on the West Coast now, so I know it's called Carl's Jr. out here, but in the Midwest, where I'm originally from, they were called Hardee's. It is the exact same restaurant, and I do not know. I'm sure if I looked it up, I could find it out, but I have no idea why they're called Hardee's in the Midwest, and they're called Carl's Jr. on the West Coast. They have the same mascot and everything, the little star. If you've never had a Frisco burger with a 1/4 pound 100% Angus beef patty topped with crispy cherry wood smoked bacon, melted Swiss cheese, tomatoes, and mayonnaise, all served on a perfectly toasted sourdough bread, you might be missing out. And that was the thing. I don't know what made it so much better, but the bread was circular. It wasn't like your average square sourdough piece. I don't know if that added to the magic of it or not. It definitely added to the intrigue of it. Where else are you seeing these circular pieces of bread just pulling this perfect sandwich all together? Which is, talking about this now makes me want to attempt to do a vegan version of it. Maybe next episode I will have had a vegan Frisco burger. We'll see what happens. Hoping Gnarly's in Portland can maybe accommodate and get us a Frisco burger going. Either way, so let's talk about the Fresno Nightcrawlers. Fresno, not Frisco. Frisco's in Texas, Fresno's in California, just so we're all aware. Which for some reason I thought Frisco was in California as well. We learn something new every day. But here we are, the Fresno Nightcrawlers. Where do they come from? What's some of what's their origin story? Their villain origin story, or not so villain origin story, because they seem like pretty nice creatures. So there were some claims that they are part of indigenous folklore in that region, which has been debunked. If you look online and do a search for indigenous carvings that look like the Nightcrawlers, these large carvings about the size, about the height of what you'd see a normal totem pole, but they were just, the top was the head and the rest was these long legs that went all the way down. Which, as you'll learn in this episode, if you're not already familiar, that is pretty much sums up the body type of the Fresno Nightcrawler. It's a lot of leg. There's a lot of leg going on there. That's all I can say. So the first sighting of the Fresno Nightcrawler happened in Fresno, California, by a man named Jose in 2007. Jose had a surveillance camera watching his front lawn and looked at the camera when he heard a dog barking. After being woken up by his barking dogs, he checked out the front of his house to see what the issue was. He went out there, didn't see anything, so he went to his cameras. Jose went through the footage that the CCTV had recorded, and saw the night crawlers on his front lawn. This is one of the more prominent videos you'll see, video evidence of the night crawlers. It's the initial Fresno, California video. He woke his brother up to watch the footage as well. They seem to look like two pairs of pants walking through his front yard. They look more like they were gliding as opposed to walking. Each step looking very intentional. It's I don't even know how to properly describe it. You know what it reminds me? It reminds me of, I don't know if you've seen those like really old Disney cartoons, like I'm talking back when they actually drew it frame by frame, but how the legs kind of just like, it's almost like I don't know how to describe it. It's like a saunter, maybe they're sauntering through the front yard. Is that the word I'm looking for right now? That doesn't sound like the word I'm looking for right now. Well, it turns out I'm a genius. That was the word I was looking for. Saunter, walk in a slow, relaxed manner without hurry or effort. That's a verb. The noun is a leisurely stroll. So they're just kind of sauntering through his front yard. They have a very ghost-like appearance. I don't like saying ghost-like appearance because I've obviously seen a ghost. No, I'm saying Hollywood's version of a ghost kind of is what they remind me of, because it looks like, I mean, if it was all just one piece, I would be like, oh yeah, this is probably a ghost. Or at least a portrayal of what we see in like cartoons as ghosts, where it's like the head and then it's a floating sheet that goes along with it. But that's the thing, there's a definite definition between the legs and the upper part of the body. It doesn't seem like there's a torso. It just seems like there's a top half, and then not even half. There's a top quarter maybe, and then 3/4 of it are legs. Definitely look it up, check it out. It's an interesting video. Afterwards, his brother claimed to have seen small footprints outside, but by the time investigators made it to the site, the evidence was washed away. After the initial sighting, the original CCTV footage was lost. The only remaining footage is a grainy video recorded from the monitor. So for some reason, he wasn't able to give the original recording. The recording that was taken was a filming of the monitor of the original footage. So the original footage never actually got out, I guess. It was just the recording that someone had taken of the CCTV. He was so spooked by the sighting, he took down a security camera after that night. He wasn't a believer. He was legitimately freaked out and scared by this. This wasn't, which is what I feel gives a little more credibility, is that he wasn't trying to seek fame, or like this wasn't something he believed was real. I think he more wanted to figure out what was actually going on, as opposed to sharing the video and becoming famous because of this video. because he stepped away from the limelight and he was not wanting to gain fame or notoriety. And just to be clear, in one of the podcast episodes, it reminded me that I am getting older. And they went through and explained what a CCTV was and what a VHS is, because the CCTV records to VHS. So CCTV is closed circuit television. So he has a camera that goes directly to his TV or through his recording device and then to his TV. It's not it's not like your today's Ring where everything is saved in the cloud. This was basically, you had your recording from whatever would fit on the tape, the VHS. And again, explaining what a VHS is, as some people may have never even seen a VHS, which blows my mind. Because I'm not old enough that I grew up on Betamax, which was before VHS, but VHS was the format if you were watching videos at home, or if you recorded off the television via your VCR player. But the VHS was basically think of like, well, I don't even know if that's the case anymore. I don't even think, maybe they do. I'm thinking movie theaters with the reels. Basically, it's small reels that go into this plastic box, and you put this tape into your VCR, and you can play and watch whatever's been recorded on the reel inside of the VHS. Very similar to a cassette tape. Again, you may not know what that is, but basically recording onto the tape that goes inside of the reel. I guess it'd be film in a VHS, and I don't know what you would call it in a tape. Either way, we have come very far and are in a much better place now. With our Blu-rays, 4K DVDs, and streaming. So either way, he's got this closed circuit television, which is recording this. So it's directly to him. He's the only one that's going to have the copy. It's not being saved in a cloud. It's not being recorded like it would with the Ring camera, or I'm not even sure what the other ones are called, a Nest or whatever. This is going directly to him, and he's the only one that has the copy. From an article from the Fresno Bee, according to paranormal investigator Victor Camacho, the man who shot the original surveillance footage brought it to television network Univision in search of answers. He didn't even want to go. This is a quote from Victor Camacho. He didn't even want to go out of the house. Camacho, who analyzed the footage, told the Bee in 2018 he stayed home for a couple weeks. It wasn't possible that someone tried to make this video just to fool you or the TV station. Yeah, he stayed home for a couple weeks. Like, he did not leave his house. That's how freaked out he was. Which me, I'd be like, I actually want to get away from where I initially saw these. But that's I mean, home, sometimes you feel safe there. That's apparently his home he felt safe in, just not going out in the world. Yeah, it's just, he was legitimately scared and freaked out by this encounter. And he didn't even encounter in person. He just saw it on the video, which, if you look at the video, this is part of the reason I don't want a Ring camera on my house, because I don't want to see what's going on outside. I don't need to know. I know there's things happening. I have access to an old Ring, my parents' Ring camera, and like, you'll see, I think it's called Neighbors or Ring Neighborhood or something. Either way, I ended up getting rid of it, because you see all of people will post on there all the videos they see of everything going on in their neighborhoods and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to know if it's happening, as long as nobody's majorly getting affected by this. I mean, it's usually people going to the trash or people walking up on porches and stuff. Usually take something. But I mean, it's not like, I don't think I haven't seen any violence, or it may have been, either way. I'm okay with not knowing what's going on when I'm not outside, looking outside. In 2010, the video was featured in an episode of the television show Fact or Faked Paranormal Files. People thought maybe it could be explained by puppets. Former FBI agent Ben Hansen and his team tried to recreate the footage with puppets and a child dressed in a white sheet, but determined it to be unexplainable. Yeah, so I mean, we've got this footage here from 2007, and here's the issue. It's the original gets lost. It's 2007. Looking at the footage, it is very grainy because it is a recording of a CCTV video. According to Victor Camacho, paranormal researcher and radio host of Los Desvelados, which translates to The Unveiled, the man who shot the original surveillance footage initially brought it to television network Univision in search of answers. He'd even want to go out of the house. He stayed home for a couple of weeks. It wasn't possible that someone tried to make the video just to fool you or the TV station. Victor was the person who initially analyzed the footage to try and help Jose find some answers. Also, in 2010, the video was featured in an episode of the television show Fact or Faked Paranormal Files. Some people thought maybe it could be explained by puppets. Former FBI agent Ben Hansen and his team tried to recreate the footage with puppets and a child dressed in a white sheet, but determined it to be unexplainable. Since then, there is a YouTuber by the name of Captain Disillusion who somewhat recreated the video. He was able to do it by holding a watermelon by his waist and then digitally removing the top half of his body to make it appear that it was a pair of legs with a small quarter top of the body there. But I go back to this took place in 2007. Today, yeah, it would be it's easy to replicate and do this. But in 2007, you were actually working in the film special effects. I don't think this is something you could create very easily. Yeah, it's also, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. But to further back up the fact that these creatures were real, the creature was also spotted in Yosemite, where footage was taken from what appears to be another security camera on March 28th, 2011, around 2 a.m. The cameras were set up to monitor potential vandalism in the area. This time there are two creatures, one being very small, and the feet of the creatures can be clearly seen, as well as what appears to be some sort of webbing connecting from the knees to the upper body on at least the larger one. The smaller one was following the larger one in the video. Some people think it might be a child and adult version of the Nightcrawlers. These are just things. The cryptid has also been videotaped in Poland, this time with what appears to be a handheld camera. Judging from the shakiness of the footage, the creature cannot be seen for too long, but appears to have similar traits to the larger ones taped in Yosemite. Which, after my personal analysis of watching the video, I'm calling shenanigans. Yeah, that video just kind of, I don't know. It like they said, it looks like it's been shot on a camera on a phone. And that one definitely looks way more puppeted than the other sightings. Like, it's weird because the other videos have more of like a flow to them as they're walking. Like I said, they were sauntering. There was like a kind of a, and it looked like they were, I don't know what you want to call them. A lot of the people have referred to them as what looks like hammer pants, or to me they look more like bell bottoms, or with the looseness of them, like the I feel like bell bottoms had at least some form to them. These, it looks more like those beach pants that you see, like the very thin cotton with the drawstring situation, because they kind of flow with the wind and the walk. But yeah, this Poland video, I'm calling my own shenanigans on. That's shenanigans. But the next sighting of the creature was in Billings, Montana, which a lot of episodes didn't bring this one up because this one is a fairly new sighting. We jumped from 2011 to 2020. The next sighting of the big creature was in Billings, Montana, captured on a home surveillance system at 9:45 p.m. on 4/25 of 2020. Some of the blurriest footage of it that you'll see, which is hard to believe with the recording Jose we have of Jose's, but at the location of the footage there was a deer carcass found. Possibly this would be the first time we hear of anything aggressive, violent coming from a sighting of the Nightcrawlers. So yeah, the Billings, Montana video, definitely a little bit harder to see, but definitely closer looking to the original footages that were captured. Yeah, I again highly recommend checking all these out. Just do a search for the city and then Fresno Nightcrawler, which I'll include links to all these in the show notes as well. But yeah, that one definitely, it's a quick shot, but it definitely looks more, I believe it more than the Poland video. So there's another creature which sometimes gets thrown in the mix when talking about the Fresno Nightcrawlers, which is the Carmel creature. This one, from the description and everything, it doesn't, to me, doesn't sound like a Nightcrawler, but it does have some similar features. But this one is also much larger. This one is 7 feet tall. But I would normally, when I come across something like this that is similar but not quite the same, I normally would do separate episodes for it. But this one has such little information on it that I just figured let's just throw it in here. Okay, so the Carmel creature. The witness, a 60-year-old former Marine yet to be named, and his wife were driving near Carmel on December 12, 2014, when they came up over a hill and saw a 7-foot tall, slender gray creature, which is now known as the Carmel area creature. The unnamed witness said the following. We recently bought a place in the Fort Hills area in southeast Highland County. We first noticed after about 30 days of living there that we suddenly have a perfect circle that stays fresh green no matter what weather in our front yard. On Friday night, the 12th, we were driving home. After turning on the Carmel Road, which leads to our road, we went around the curve by the Carmel Church and then up a small incline, and approximately 10 feet over the incline, and in front of the truck, the quote-unquote alien ran across the road and into the woods. The witness described the creature as a 7-foot tall, slim gray creature with muscular legs that walked like its knees were backwards. The 60-year-old former Marine who allegedly saw the creature also said it didn't seem to have arms. He also included a sketch made shortly after he arrived home. So this one is 7 feet tall. It is still slender, gray creature. And that's the thing, like, in the videos, I feel like even with the night vision or whatever, they look more white than gray. So like I said, they look more like ghosts that are floating along than gray creatures. But that's just me. That's just what I'm saying. And he said they had muscular legs. Like in the videos you see of the Nightcrawlers, there's not a lot of definition. So maybe they do have muscular legs. Maybe they're jacked. They missed just work a leg day because they can't do arm day. You know what I'm saying? Like they are toned and ready to run the race. But I don't know. In the videos, like I said, it looks like they're wearing some loose fitting pants. Who knows what they're hiding underneath there? Either way, some theories and explanations, which we all want to know, right? Um, as one of the episodes of the podcast I listened to while trying to get some more research done on these, the obvious answer is if we don't know what it is, it's aliens. Are they a form of alien life? They're not like any animals we are aware of. Possible surveyors of the earth, remaining hidden most of the time. I mean, for the most part, we don't see them. There's been no actual, like, visual sightings of them. People, it seems like everything is turning up on CCTVs, minus the Poland one, which was on a cell phone camera. But either way, outside of that, none of them have been visible. Like, they haven't seen, it's just been caught on camera. Are they interdimensional life forms traveling between planes? To me, I don't know. I feel like aliens, if they do exist, which I believe we cannot be the only life forms in this universe or in all these infinite galaxies we are a part of. I feel like they would have technology to be interdimensional. But either way, some people separate interdimensional life forms from aliens. I think they could possibly go hand in hand. Either way, so there's some folklore and cultural connections. The indigenous people legends, which we did say the carvings were debunked, but I don't know. One of the episodes brought up that they have been here all along as protectors of the earth, creatures tied to the very land itself, spirit protectors of the forest. They appear in, when you usually see them, they're in natural settings. They're not just running through the city. It seems like these are, according to that podcast, there were tales of tall, slender beings that go around protecting the natural world. Ancient beings connected to the land. Some practical explanations. I mean, that sounds nice to me. I like the thought of them being protectors of the land and just kind of making sure everything's taken care of properly and we are not completely ruining it. Just a thought. Practical explanations would be hoaxes or puppetry. Could be a well-executed puppet show. My only issue with this, it hasn't been disproved. The original footage hasn't been disproved as being fake or a hoax. Jose didn't seem like he was trying to do this to hoax people. It did seem like he was legitimately afraid of what he had seen by the fact that he didn't leave his house for a couple weeks after it happened. But yeah, that's just me. That's, I always go for, I lean on believer side as opposed to skeptic most of the time. 90% of the time, I want to believe. I think we all want to believe a little bit, or else we wouldn't be listening to this episode. Another thing that people have said is it's bad footage of a deer. Deer legs caught at the wrong angle. My issue with this is that there's multiple videos and none of them, I feel like it says deer legs caught at the wrong angle. I feel like all of them have the creature moving in them. So I feel like at some point that angle would level out and they would get a better visual of the deer itself. But that, who knows? Some of the cultural impact we already talked about, but the Fresno Nightcrawler is known for being one of the 2 featured videos cases on the second episode of Sci-Fi's Fact or Faked Paranormal Files. The team deemed the Nightcrawler unexplainable. It is also now considered a fun urban legend and an endearing addition to pop culture. A monster directly based on the Fresno Nightcrawler appears in the My Singing Monsters fan-made island, Cryptid Island, in the form of Fresnoir. So if you are playing My Singing Monsters, which I am unfamiliar with, be sure to check out Fresnoir on the Cryptid Island. And like I said earlier, this is a relatively new cryptid, being first brought to light in 2007. I feel like, from what I remember, the original recording happened in 2007, but it didn't get uploaded to YouTube until 2010. So yeah, it's a relatively new one, but if you're looking on Etsy, or if you're looking anywhere doing a cryptid search or cryptid merch search, these little dudes are going to show up. I mean, they're cute. They're adorable. They seem harmless unless maybe they killed the deer. I'm leaning towards they were trying to go to save the deer, but got there too late. That's what I'm leaning towards as far as the Billings, Montana video. But yeah, they are these cute. You'll find plushies, stickers, shirts, posters, all the above, because they are. I mean, they definitely do not fit into the normal realm of cryptids, which is 90% of the time you're like, I don't think I want to run into them in real life. But yeah, these guys, I could see myself hanging out with the Fresno Nightcrawlers. I mean, I'm not much of a clubbing person, but they got to know how to dance. They're all legs. That's what I'm talking about. Like, get out and dance for us, see what's happening, see what's going on, get a little groove, do a little dance, get down tonight. So, in conclusion, that's pretty much all I have on the Nightcrawlers. Again, the Nightcrawlers themselves as well don't have a ton of information on them online. They have more than the Carmel area creature, but still a little light in that area. The video, from what we can tell, is legit. The original video hasn't been disproven yet. Which is also another factor why I lean more towards believing, because normally a lot of times when there's these videos coming out of cryptids or people claiming to see cryptids, the videos get debunked, but nobody seems to be able to debunk the footage that we have. While it might be a little easier to do now with the technology we had at the time, the original sighting, it's less likely that this was made up due to lack of access to the technology to make footage like this, and it's seeming like Jose didn't want to do this for fame. We don't even know Jose's last name. Let's put it that way. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think the Nightcrawlers are? Are they aliens from another world that came here just to see what's going on and walk through people's lawns get on camera? Are they interdimensional life forms trying to find a new vacation spot? I don't know. They do hang out to grass. I mean, that's a common occurrence there. So they love nature. I'm just hoping at some point they're showing up Oregon, Washington area. We got a lot of green out here. This is green. This is green country. Come see all that is green. Or it's just a hoax. What's this somebody made up? My other issue is having Yosemite be where the other sighting happened, having it being backed up by a legitimate source. I'm leaning towards the Nightcrawlers. I'm on Team Nightcrawler. I'm saying, let's give these pants a go and see where it goes. You know what I'm saying? Give them a chance. Just give them a chance. It seems like these are, if they are aliens, are probably the least invasive and least issue-causing ones we've had to deal with. We saw the one in the first video, and then a little family outing in the second one. Maybe brought the son along. You got to see this. Let's go. Don't tell your mom about this. But yeah, checking out Earth, seeing what's going on here. But yeah, let me know what you think. As always, I love to hear from listeners. I'm going to be more active on social media. I have been, again, with the delay in recording and just life in general being very busy. Kind of took a little break from doing the recordings, which, again, always check in with yourself. You know what you can do. You know what you're able to do. Sometimes you just need to take a little time for yourself, a little reboot for yourself. But either way, yes, they're on my list of favorites now. I hope you have been able to enjoy them as much as I have and learning about them in the same way I have. And like I said, please check out the videos. I'll include them in the show note links. If you've had an encounter with the Fresno Nightcrawler and just haven't told anybody, let me know. Send some footage my way. I'd love to see it. As always, thank you for listening. Your support in any form is appreciated, whether that be telling a friend about the podcast, sharing it on your social media, sending it to, liking, sharing posts from the show, to just kind of spread it out there and get more people aware of this podcast. You can find all my social media on Linktree /DOTU podcast. That's linktr.ee/DOTU podcast. If you'd like to support this podcast financially, you can become a monthly donor. That'd be patreon.com/DOTU podcast. Subscribe and follow me on YouTube and all social media platforms. Give me a rating wherever possible, but especially on Apple Podcasts. It'll really help the podcast grow. Thanks so much for listening. As always, keep an eye to the sky. And if you happen to have a security camera facing a grassy area, be sure to keep an eye out for our leggy cryptid friends enjoying a late night stroll. I'll see y'all next time.